So now that we've established what AI can do, how the model rules apply, we can dive a little bit deeper into the practical challenges that you're probably going to face when you're implementing AI in your practice. These are the day-to-day ethical dilemmas that test professional judgment and require concrete solutions so that you can manage it properly. So AI bias, for example, what do you actually do about it? We know that it exists. The challenge isn't just knowing it exists, but it's developing systems to detect it and mitigate it in your specific practice and usage of AI. Different practice areas face different bias risks. If you're doing criminal defense work, for example, and using AI for risk assessment or sentencing predictions, you need to understand that these tools may systematically disadvantage certain demographic groups. But you don't need to avoid AI for that reason. Instead, you just need to implement bias checking protocols. So a practical approach, for example, would be to establish baseline testing procedures for any tool before you rely on it for client work. That means running test cases through the system, use hypothetical scenarios that vary in demographic characteristics. And if the AI tool consistently recommends different strategies for factual identical cases based solely on client demographics, well, you've identified a bias problem that needs to be addressed. Create bias audit checklists for your staff. Train them to look for patterns in AI recommendations that might reflect bias rather than legitimate legal distinctions. Document these reviews because if bias issues arise later, you'll need to demonstrate that you took reasonable steps to identify and address the potential problems. Consider the case of a firm that used AI for employment law cases. Now, they noticed that the AI consistently recommended more aggressive litigation strategies when the opposing party was a small business versus a large corporation, even when the legal issues were identical. Now, that's not necessarily bias. It might have reflected legitimate strategic considerations about resources and settlement likelihood, but the bigger point is that it required human analysis to make that determination. So you want to make sure you have that human oversight to guide you.